Picture this. You're 21 years old, you're standing on the pitch in front of millions of people, and suddenly you realize the entire world is turned against you. In 2006, after a wildly controversial World Cup incident, a young footballer was branded a national traitor. We're talking death threats pouring in by the thousands. The media was viciously demanding he be run out of the country. For most people, that level of scandalous global hatred, that would absolutely be the breaking point. But for Cristiano Ronaldo, well, it was just another Tuesday. Today, in this explainer, we are diving deep to uncover the gritty, unseen story behind one of the most famous names on the planet.
That defining moment in 2006 completely defies how the public perceived him. During that World Cup match between England and Portugal, an incident involving his Manchester United teammate, Wayne Rooney, led to a red card. And man, the English press viciously turned on Ronaldo. They called him a cheat, a traitor. The backlash was so utterly terrifying that he actually considered leaving England altogether. But instead of fleeing, he did the unthinkable. He used that absolute crushing hatred to forge an unbreakable mindset. He stayed, and he became a machine.
So you gotta wonder, where does that kind of psychological armor actually come from? To withstand the crushing weight of global scrutiny, you have to have been forged in some serious fire. How did a kid with absolutely nothing, no money, no connections, literally no safety net, become entirely unstoppable? Well, to answer that, we have to strip away the fame, the private jets, the billions of dollars, and go back to where the unseen battle actually began.
Act 1. Humble beginnings on the dusty streets of Madeira.
Long before the bright stadium lights, there was just an isolated island out in the Atlantic Ocean. Cristiano was born in Funchal, Madeira, into profound poverty. We're talking about a cramped house where the tin roof actually leaked when it rained, and the salty ocean wind just blew right through the cracked windows. His father, José Denis Severo, worked as a city gardener and battled severe alcoholism that just slowly stole his presence away. His mother, Maria Dolores, cleaned houses and cooked for neighbors just to stretch a single pot of soup for 4 kids. Cristiano's bed was squeezed into this tiny room he shared with his brother Hugo. A wild dream of playing football and a dusty dirt pitch were literally the only things keeping him going.
Now, I want to share a really heavy, counterintuitive fact about his origins. His mother's financial desperation was so severe back then that she actually considered abortion when she found out she was pregnant with him, and she confessed this to him later in life. But instead of anger or resentment, Cristiano took this devastating truth and turned it into his ultimate fuel. He later said, "She tried to abort me, but God didn't want that to happen. That's why I'm here to prove I was meant to live." That right there, that is the foundational bedrock of his immense drive.
His youth was just this rapid, traumatic compression of hardships. At age 8, he's playing on dusty dirt and uneven stones for a small local team, Andorra. If the older boys knocked him down, he got right back up with bleeding knees. By age 12, he makes the massive sacrifice of leaving his family to join the Sporting CP Academy in Lisbon. Think about that for a second. Imagine being 12, totally alone in a huge, cold city, being ruthlessly mocked by the other boys for your thick Madeira accent and sobbing yourself to sleep every single night. But you know what? The hardest trial was still yet to come.
Act 2. The Abyss. The turning point at age 15.
Right when his raw talent was finally starting to catch the eyes of top coaches in Lisbon, a terrifying crisis threatened to erase his only ticket out of poverty. At just 15 years old, doctors discovered a highly dangerous racing heartbeat. This wasn't just a minor setback, folks. It was a condition severe enough to stop him from ever playing sports again. His mother literally wept when she heard the news. Everything they had sacrificed, the tears at the airport, the lonely nights, the bleeding knees, was suddenly on the verge of being ripped away because his own body was betraying him.
As you'll see, giving up is simply not in his vocabulary. After that devastating diagnosis, he immediately underwent a risky laser surgery to repair his heart. And the most shocking part of all of this, he returned to the training pitch just days later, acting as if absolutely nothing had happened. He told his mother he had to be fine, so he was fine. This absolute stubborn refusal to accept physical defeat completely set the stage for the monster he was about to become on the pitch.
Act 3. The Ascent and Breakthrough, where the machine is finally forged.
Once his heart was fixed, his rise was just frantic. By 16, he was leaving older boys spinning with his pace. But raw talent wasn't enough. A lot of teammates and early coaches actually thought he was too cocky, constantly checking the mirror and showing off. But what they totally mistook for arrogance or vanity was, in reality, a lonely, desperate obsession to be the absolute best. While the other kids snuck out to cause mischief, he stayed on the pitch alone.
He would lift makeshift weights, run sprints, and practice free kicks until the groundskeeper literally had to turn off the floodlights to get him to leave. And man, did that obsession pay off. It all clicked in 2003 during a friendly match that honestly changed football history forever. Sporting Lisbon played the English giants Manchester United. Ronaldo, who was just a skinny teenager at the time, utterly humiliated United's seasoned Premier League defenders. His stepovers were so lightning quick that the United players actually begged their manager, the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson, to sign him immediately. Sir Alex didn't even hesitate. He broke a record for a teenager at the time, paying £12.24 million to bring the boy from Madeira to wear the iconic number 7 shirt in Manchester. But it was Sir Alex Ferguson who provided the non-obvious breakthrough that truly changed Ronaldo's trajectory. When he arrived at United, Ronaldo was a showman. He loved dazzling crowds with flicks and tricks. But Sir Alex pulled him aside and gave him a harsh reality check. He said, "There's more to football than stepovers. End product wins games." And the crazy thing? Cristiano actually listened. He started staying behind after training, taking 100 free kicks a day. He built his legs into literal pistons of power. He dropped the vanity and completely rewired his brain to focus on pure, ruthless efficiency.
Act 4. The hidden cost and the ultimate legacy.
This is where we see the final form of the player who survived that intense 2006 backlash and just took the world by storm. In 2009, Real Madrid made him the most expensive footballer on earth, paying an earth-shattering £80 million. And how did he repay them? With this staggering number, 451. He scored 451 goals in just 438 matches. I mean, to put that into perspective, that is more than a goal a game over nearly a decade. The boy who once played barefoot on Madeira streets had become a goal-scoring phenomenon, breaking records for fun and winning 4 Champions Leagues with Madrid.
Now, you can't talk about this era of football without touching on the eternal debate. On one side, you have Lionel Messi, often described as the magical artist, dancing past defenders like a phantom. It's almost innate. On the other side, you have Ronaldo. He is the machine. His game isn't built on unexplainable magic. It is built on raw power, obsessive self-improvement, and absolutely relentless standards. It's the ultimate contrast between pure, natural artistry and self-forged mechanical obsession.
Yet, despite that whole ruthless machine persona, there are some highly counterintuitive facts about his legacy off the pitch that a lot of people miss. He built the massive CR7 empire, sure, but he never forgot where he came from. He has quietly donated millions to children's hospitals. He personally paid for a 9-year-old fan's cancer treatment. He even auctioned off one of his prestigious Ballon d'Or trophies just to fund children's education. He fiercely protects his mother, calling her his rock. He essentially uses his own childhood trauma, the extreme poverty and the pain, as a powerful vehicle to give back to those who are suffering.
Which brings us to the emotional core, the universal theme of this whole story.
We've seen the rise, the intense controversies, the absolutely astonishing numbers. But what does it actually mean for us? I think it boils down to this concept: struggle as a superpower. The gap between having absolutely nothing, a leaking roof and bleeding knees, and having everything isn't bridged by luck. It's bridged by the ability to take mockery, extreme poverty, and the crushing doubt of a whole nation and use it as limitless fuel. Ronaldo's life is living proof that when people mock you or tell you that you can't do something, you don't shrink away. You use it to train harder. You literally turn tears into trophies.
So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on today. Cristiano Ronaldo's story proves that the only limits in life are the ones you accept for yourself. Whether you're facing your own lonely nights or fighting through your own dusty streets, ask yourself, what limits are you currently accepting and what would happen if you simply stopped?